Sharon Selby, registered clinical counselor. Thanks for being here. We're talking about curbing children's anxieties, and a lot of things coming up in the news right now, and one of which is obviously the big disaster happening in Nepal right now, and the importance of communication. How do we open up healthy discussion with our children should anxieties come up when they see things like whether it's happening in Nepal, the gun violence, things in our community? How do we manage this in a healthy way?
Well, it's really important that we limit the exposure to the media because the images are really disturbing.
So if the kids do see, let's roll some of the viz from Nepal, just as an aside, as an example.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
This almost starts rolling on your Facebook page when you're scrolling down, or the kids, you're watching the news and the kids are hanging out and doing whatnot, and because my child seems to be very interested in this, and at 7, he's right at that tipping point where the age of innocence is sort of ending. He's not traumatized by it, but how do I explain it to him?
Yeah, so it's really important to ask them what they know already, what they've seen. They may have seen some of the media images. They may have talked about it at school or with friends. And that gives you a starting point for your discussion. And then you'll know what kind of questions they might have or where they feel confused. It's really difficult for them to process it from seeing images, and it's disturbing to see the images. So,
at what age do you think that you need to be honest about such things? Because I know in the past I've been like, don't worry about that, buddy. It's just, you know.
Right.
But we're getting to that point where consistent honesty seems to be.
Absolutely, and that's really important to be honest. You just want to keep the facts simple and leave out the upsetting details, and then you can judge it according to the age of your child. They may be interested in the scientific part behind it, what causes an earthquake. So definitely judge it by your child, especially if your child is more highly sensitive, already has high anxiety, or if they've had previous trauma, previous losses in their life, then they're going to be more susceptible.
And what are some of the triggers parents can look out for with their children if they think, okay, everything's going okay, but physically, what should we be watching out for to make sure the child is in good standing? Yeah,
so some children are just not going to really be impacted at all, and they're just going to be playing, and it's really not going to connect with them. For others, they may start to have more sleep disturbances. They may have physical headaches, stomach aches that don't have a medical reason. There may be extreme separation anxiety. All of a sudden, they don't want you to leave the home. They don't want to leave your side. So you have to watch out for those kinds of things. And I definitely recommend, if it's persistent and ongoing, to get help from a qualified mental health professional.
Right. That, and if you see those signs, certainly. What is the benefit of perhaps, you know, in the instance of Nepal, creating an earthquake kit, have a plan in your house? Is that going to raise the anxiety, or will that, for the most part, bring comfort depending on the child?
Yeah, I would absolutely say for everybody that helps so much. So it helps in that your family is prepared, but secondly, that will actually help calm your child, because they feel kind of out of control because now they know the world's not a safe place. An earthquake could happen at any time. Trust in their world may have gone. But if you can say, we have a family emergency plan and we have a family emergency kit, we're prepared, that's going to help give them that feeling of security. So if you don't already have a plan or have a kit, I would definitely recommend doing one now. It's a really good time because it's going to provide that extra benefit of calming them. And it gives that feeling of closeness as a family when you sit around together and you get all the bits and pieces and create your kit and brainstorm what could we put in it. And the St. John Ambulance website is excellent for that. They have a list of resources that you can use, and they're putting out a great blog next week for Emergency Preparedness Week, and that's going to be giving all kinds of recommendations. I've written a couple of articles for them on how to calm your child when your child's anxious during an emergency, and how to have a really fun, successful family meeting so that you can put together a great emergency preparedness plan.
And building upon the idea of planning for the emergencies, the idea of just calming anxieties in general, whether it be a trigger of a fear of the dark we were just chatting about during the break, or any triggers at school, how do you manage that? What is a good first step for parents if they notice it?
Yeah, great question. So first you want to validate your child's feelings. When a child is distressed, they're not able to go into problem-solving mode right away. And as parents, that's what we tend to do first, is try and fix the problem. But really you want to validate their feelings. And then once they're calmed down, you can move into problem-solving. And really then the best way is to use reality, use evidence. moments and just help them be in the present. Because anxiety is really about thinking of the worst possible case scenario in the future that hasn't even happened yet and you don't know will happen. So keeping them in the present and really focusing on what do we know for sure and what are the facts.
Great advice from Sharon Selby, clinical counselor, and you can contact Sharon by way of the website. We'll look out St. John's Ambulance as well for those articles. Great advice on that. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
There's the website if you'd like to get in touch.